Greetings and welcome. Today we're going to walk through the basics of getting ready to make your own custom skins in Hydrosim. What you're seeing on the screen is some of the like real life boats, but as we go farther in, we start seeing some that are custom made. Matt Johnson design. Dude makes some sweet looking boats. Yeah, NVIDIA. There was never an NVIDIA hydroplane that looked like that. There is in the game. Let's find out what we can do. The first thing we're going to need to do is download a program called GIMP. Just search for that, and there it is. Here we are. GIMP is the program that allows us to edit images and make everything nice. You can use this for a lot of different stuff as well. I just click downloads. Here I am, download directly, and that'll get going. There we go. Over here, the next search we do, GIMP DDS plugin. I see one here, code Google Archive. We're going to go to there. We're going to go to downloads. And here we are, Windows 64-bit. That's what I need. If you have 32-bit, I don't know, maybe it's time to upgrade your computer. All right, so we're going to click that one, get that going. All right, the other thing you will need, of course, for this is Hydrosim. If you search for Hydrosim, odds are you're going to find unlimitedhydroplanes.com right up top. Here's this. This is a forum about it. We can also click right there at Hydrosim, and it brings up this. There's the game, Windows, Linux, and Mac OS X. We'll get into that here in a second. Anyways, our downloads are set. So we'll bring those up. Okay, there, downloads. So we're going to start with GIMP. For all users, sure. Yes, we'll do this. English, you betcha. GIMP. I'm going to customize because I want to send it to a certain place. I don't want it just on my C drive. I actually want it to go on my S drive. I have a Steam drive. It's a faster drive, basically, and that'll work. So I'll say OK. Takes up a little bit of space, and next. I'm going to make sure it has just literally everything because I don't even care. Translations, you can save some space there because I don't need to. Yeah, we'll skip that one. Right. Yeah, sure. And install. All right, so I'll save you a minute here. As that is installing, which it's almost done. So what we do with these files is, honestly, I don't even understand this stuff. These are programmer guys, they know all this stuff. I don't. I know how to make it work so we can do what we need to do. So DDS files are basically like a file that can like wrap around a 3D model inside the game. And so if you paint it correctly, I call it painting. If you paint it correctly, it will wrap around that boat and look correct. So it's not just a picture, although you can edit photos with GIMP, you can do all sorts of things. But what we're editing is basically this picture that needs to be able to wrap around correctly. That's where, as far as I can tell, that's where the DDS files come into play. So the other thing that we downloaded is to be able to make the program correctly use DDS files. So after this is done, we'll get into that. All right, it has finished. So I'm going to click Finish. Now, the second thing here is the GIMP DDS file thing. We're going to click that. What do we do with this? I don't know. It's got a README text. Let's find out. All right, to install this, you put it right in where it goes, inside this the plugins directory. So what I'll do is I'll just set this over here for a second. Bring this back up. We're going to go to, actually I'll leave that one where it's at. My S drive. Okay, I'll right click. I want a new window. There we go. We'll just leave that there. GIMP 2. There we go. So there's GIMP 2, lib. All right, so I can expand this a bit now. GIMP 2.0. Plugins. Okay, so this is where it goes. All right, so what we do is we just grab this and set it over here, and there it is. All right, so the next thing, after you download Hydrosim, you're gonna wanna go down a ways to custom paint jobs. There's some stuff here you can read about. We need this right down here, templates. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and download the whole thing. It's gonna zip it. All right, so we have our templates. So let's go put those somewhere good. What I'm gonna do is I have my Steam drive, I have my H1. Okay, this is the quick thing to teams. Let me minimize this for you. This is where all the teams are. Okay, in the folder, it's H1. You click on that, you click on data, you click on streaming assets and teams, right? So what I'm gonna do, I actually want way back here at just right where it's at, H1 Sim, right here. I want to add a folder. And I'm going to add this folder, Boat Builder. And this has to do with me just building boats. And right here, I'm going to make a new one called Templates. Sorry if my keyboard's a little noisy, but it's got a mechanical keyboard, pretty nice. All right, downloads. I'm going to open in a new window. That was a right click there. And I'm going to click on template. Okay, so see how it's a zip file? We don't install the zip file. I clicked on it. We install this. If I grab that right there and drop it into here, now I have those in here. Okay? They're called PSD files. Guessing all that's Photoshop. I'm not a Photoshop guy, just not that way. So now we can actually open these where I'm at into GIMP and check one out. Let's go to Hull, PSD. I'm going to right click, I'm going to say open with, and there's GIMP right there. So you can either open it straight into GIMP or you can open GIMP and then go file and open. You can do it either way that works for you. So this is what it looks like. Briefly, we're going to go over a couple things, but for the most part, we're going to get into actual painting boats at another time. But I'll give you a couple things right here. These are guides, these two things here. I can move them around, I guess. I don't use them. First thing I do is view, show guides, and I turn them off. I can actually go into preferences somewhere. I don't remember exactly where, and make them so they don't show up all the time. But I'll deal with that later. Okay, super basics of how this stuff works is there are layers and layers and layers of images right here. We can see some of them. I'm going to bring this a little wider. Okay, so we can see some things here. I don't know if you can kind of make this out. I see parts of a boat. I see little screw holes and openings, right? And I'm zooming in. So what I'm doing to zoom in is simply hold Control and then scroll the mouse wheel. So there are a few things here that, like, getting through this is going to be very helpful. I'm going to make a whole nother video on actually painting boats and some other key things that I do. Right now I just want to do a couple changes to this thing and show you exporting it because it's like a 19-step thing. It's like crazy, but you get pretty quick at it and you can then view it in the game. So we're going to do just that. All right. So I'm hitting Control, I can scroll the wheel, I can zoom in and out. I can press down on the wheel of the mouse and move the whole thing around, okay? So there's a few different things there. Now it doesn't quite look like a hydroplane, but if I go to this one, Mask, and I click right here, notice these little eyeballs. The eyeball says that's where it's visible layer. These are all layers in order. So if I click Mask, now it looks more like a boat. Here's the top of a hydroplane. Here's the bottom. This is the inside of the sponsons. Basically, it goes all the way here. This is the outside of this sponson. Here's the top of the wing. Here's the uprights. This is actually a fin. These are the backs of the sponsons. So that's the back of this sponson. That's the back of this sponson. And that's the back of the boat. This is where we make things happen. If I scroll in a little bit, what I can show you about this whole concept of layers and visible stuff, I'm going to turn these off. You want these off, generic texture and the adjustment. Tell you what, you're not going to need them. You're not going to need them much at all. There's other tips and tricks that we'll get into later, but if I click on textures of the boat, see how it makes it look like there's shadows of a boat? Where that one can be helpful is when you're trying to line something up with the rear uprights. That can be helpful. I'm going to turn that back off. Okay. We got skid pad lines. We got rear skid pad. I'm going to turn it off. Don't really want that. Boat parts. We got modern boat parts. Notice what happened down here at the wing. I'm scrolling in. So I held control and rolled the mouse wheel. I can zoom in and out. Okay. What was that? Modern boat parts. Click. There they are. Okay. So all that cool, intricate detail that's on these boats, that's how easy it is to add that. Click. All right. Now on the back of the boat, we want some stickers, right? Hydrosim. We want SNHL. We want UHL. Very nice. Easy as that. When we're going down, we want angle indicators. Check that. All right. And I want little no step signs on that. All right, cool. But I also, oops, sorry, I was getting a little crazy with it. I also want a cooler color. So in this case, what I'm going to do is just change the base color of this boat. I'm going to go right over here to my colors. I'll go ahead and just select this one for a minute, and let's just make it kind of a, I want to go orangey. Maybe we'll go orange. Burnt orange. Yeah, why not? I'll click OK. That is our color right there. I'm going to go to the bucket fill. I held it. So if you hold it, you have more options. I can do gradient or I can do bucket fill. If I just click it, it just goes straight to the one that it should be right now. There's choices. We'll get into all this in another video, but I have it set to fill similar color. All of this in the background is similar color. The whole base color is highlighted. Notice how now that one's highlighted. Now this one's highlighted. There's a lot of specifics that we'll show later on, but I'm just going to click. Now I'm going to, if I'm not mistaken, if I click, I think I'm on that color actually. Ah, yes, so I'm on the black right now. I'm going to hit Control Z. Okay. I'm going to switch these, and now my click will be the orange color. All right. So basically this is like a foreground, this is a background color. This switches them back and forth. So that's part of what we're looking at and all that. Okay, I did that. That's all I'm going to do right now. We're going to export this. And the exporting, like I say, exporting these things can take a few steps, okay? I don't even fully understand what's happening, but I know it works. So here's what we do in this here program. I will also put this at the front of the next video because, like I say, it's a lot of steps and you're going to get pretty good at it, be able to do it pretty quick. I'll walk you through it right now. What we're doing, here's all this stuff. This is what creates the boat, right? So there's things we want on there and things we don't want on there. For instance, these are helpful for when you're wanting to know where stuff is. There's the cockpit and there's the cowl, but we don't want to export those right now. We just want it as is, okay? So we're all set. We've got, you can have the mask on or off. See there? That's what it is, okay? I want hatches and seams. That's for realism. So you can pick what you want. We'll get into that later as well. So channels, layers, channels. This was layers. These are the channels of the colors. Okay, here we go. We're getting ready to export. Alpha, we click it. We hover over layers and notice how it switched. And we bring it back down and put it right on top. That is step one. Step two, go image. Right over here. Flatten image. Okay, that took all those layers and put them all together with the alpha and everything else. Next step, layer, mask, add layer mask. Channel, alpha, add. Okay, so this is kind of like an invisible layer over it, if you will. Okay. Okay. Now we're ready to export it. File, export as, And this is where we got our templates at, right? So that's not where we're putting this. We're in fact, we need to resave this thing in a minute. We're going to go back here to H1Sim. And now this is where we work our way to that Teams folder, okay? So we got Hydrosim. You have to double click these for some reason. I don't know. I'm a single click kind of guy, but oh well. Hydrosim data, double click. Streaming assets, Teams. So actually, this is like a new boat. So I'm going to go to create folder. And I'm going to call this one the U1 orange, just cause. And I'm going to hit enter. And now we are in that folder, as you can see here, because we've clicked on H1Sim. There's the file, data, streaming, Teams. Here we are. We're in U1 orange, hull. What we started with was hull PSD. That is the file that you can edit to create these things, okay? Now what we have to do is call this a DDS file so that it can work within the game. I'm going to click right here. I'm going to remove those and type DDS, simple as that. Okay? And we're going to click export. And then we have like 3 more things to do. I know. Okay, compression. Choose this one, 5 right there. Later on, we'll use this one also. The rest of these, I didn't use them at all. So right here, 5. Click. Minimaps, we're going to say generate, I called them minimaps, they're MIP maps. Generate MIP maps. And then we're going to go advanced. And this one here, filter, box. When we say OK, right down here, it says image exported to that location. Okay. We'll open up the game. So real quick, while it's opening, those MIP maps, that's basically like when you're real close up to the boat, it will look really good, basically. And then when it's far away, it's using less textures, less imagery, so that it's easier for the game to run. That's kind of what's happening there. All right, so here's our boat list right here. And I can go right to the top, U1 orange. I guess it's down a little ways. There we go, and click, and there we go. So we worked on just the hull, and we exported the hull, and we made it orange, and I put those stickers on it right there, right? And I took off the rest of the back portion here because I didn't want it there. If we look at another boat, we can see that this one has it, the gray section. And so we would still have to paint the cockpit from down here, the canopy up there, all of that, okay? So that's the basics of how to export these things. I'll show you a couple of boats I've made. I have made couple of Dutch Bros. Dutch Bros Rebel, okay? So this is a piston boat that I made here. Got the stickers on the back, got the Rebel up there, drink one for Dane. I put stickers of the boats, stickers of Dutch Bros, and I put this on here, which is their Dutch Bros Creed. So that's actually not a paint file, that is a reflection, or not a reflection file, it's the met layer basically, it's a whole different thing. Anyways, custom Rebel sticker on the motor, so that's one of them. Another one I have made is the U92 Dutch Bros. That's one I'll be racing right here. All right, this was the first boat I made. I'll save that for later actually. But you can even customize, on the skid fin, you can do a lot of different stuff to these. Okay, and I've also made for my brother the U81 Firewolf Racing. All right. So that's just a few of the things that we'll get into the specifics of as far as how to make these things. We'll get into that in another video. I also, let's see if this is the updated one. Nope. Okay. I'll show you how simple it is to make a piston-powered boat versus a turbine-powered boat as well. But that's the basics of it. So I'm going to exit. Now, there's 2 more things to do, okay? Yes, there's even more. All right. Actually, the most important thing right now is to hit undo a few times. I think it's 3 times. So I'm going to hit Control, and I'm going to go Z, Z, Z. Did you see what was happening on the right side of the screen? In fact, if I can redo, see, redo layer was Control Y, okay? So now I'm going to click the redos just to bring it back to where it was. Okay, watch right here as we undo these. 1, 2. Now we have all the layers back, and then that third one gets rid of the alpha layer that we added to it there. Okay, that's an important part because now as I add to this and do more things to it, I can. If I tried to add anything from the moment we were, the way it was set up just a minute ago, we would not be able to at all. So hitting undo is a key part of it as well. Now, we're still technically in the whole file that is in our template, and we don't want to mess up that template. So let's do a save as. Not documents, I want to put it in my GIMP file or in my Hydro file. I'm going to go to Steam, I'm going to go to H1Sim. I could put it under GIMP, but I put it over here under Boat Builder. And I'm going to call this one, I need a new folder, create folder. Call this the U1 Orange in progress, just because, I don't know. There we are. So now, whole XCF, so an XCF file. So we have the file, PSD is like how they get saved by all the Photoshop guys, I think. Then we've got our file GIMP file, calls them XCFs, and then we export stuff to DDS. So those are the 3 main files we're going to be seeing up in here. So I could even call this whole 1, because I'll save the next one as whole 2, okay? And I just pressed enter and it saved it now. So whole 1 XCF, okay? Let's do one more time on the export, and I'll just try to knock it through real quick. Here we go. We did, actually let's do one other thing. I'm gonna add a stripe. All right, so I'm sped this portion up. It only took a couple of minutes, but we'll get into the specifics of this later on. I didn't want anything to, you know, get confusing or whatever. Basically, I'm selecting areas. I'm putting these directly on the hull. There's reasons not to do that. We'll get into that later on as well. So now we have something slightly different on there. Okay, I'm gonna go to the move. I prefer being on move. It's just how I am. Okay, here we go. We're getting ready to export this. Channels, alpha. Bring it up to layers. Bring it down into the layers. Now it has to go to the top. So I can get way up here and it'll scroll through there. And there it is. See the line formed? See wherever that line is, that's where it's going to go. Boom. There it is. We're going to use image and then layer. Image, flatten, layer, mask. Add layer mask. Now it's already down here, right? Add. File, since we've been doing this already, export to whole, and it's done already because we're in the file already. So it gets easier and easier as you go. And we'll see how it looks in the game. Go right up here. Go find our U1 orange. And there's our stripe. See, so that's why you want to get pretty good at doing this, being able to export quickly, check stuff out, go back and forth. You want to get pretty good at that. That's the basics, the rundown on how to do this stuff. Here I am again. I need to really hit Control Z, 1, 2, 3. I don't have the alpha layer here. I can keep editing. I can save this now as a separate one. Save as, we'll call it 2. Maybe I call it 2 with a stripe to remind me what I was doing at that time. Okay, so that's the basics. We'll get into more later as far as what to actually do on a paint. Why painting directly on the hull is not the best idea. Actually, there's better ways of doing it. we'll do that as well. All right, well, cool, thanks.